An engine.
So last video, we surprised my wife by taking the engine out of her Mustang. It's been an ongoing project that's kind of sat around for a while, and we surprised her by finally starting it. And today, we have a surprise for her. Such a sick engine that we're gonna be putting into her 1965 Mustang. Let's go. There she is, Stan. She is big.
Got a nice little shop back here.
Thank you.
Oh, just like your thing, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Sure.
On every lift.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Thanks, sir.
Well, have a good day.
You too, man. Thank you. Well, I was on the way to the parts store and this engine arrived. So no cinematic anything unloading. I literally just happened to come back. Oh, we need to close the Miata hood because they don't need to know. They don't need to know. As you guys saw recently, we started on my wife's dream 65 Mustang build, but this is her dream car, and I wanted this to be sort of a collaborative thing between me and her. I have wanted to do this particular swap for a very long time. If you guys didn't know, the engine that came in the 65 Mustang was a 6-cylinder, it's an inline 6. So I've always wanted to take a Ford inline 6 and replace it with a Ford inline 6. And the best Ford inline 6 that ever existed was the Barra, especially since I've spent a little bit of time in Australia this past year. I have fallen in love with anything, whether it's the Barra engine or the predecessor that was the single overhead cam that my Falcon has, that's over in Japan, or I was just used to saying Japan, that's over in Australia right now. I went ahead and got Victoria a super nice Ford Barra. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I thought, well, should we let her unbox it? Maybe we should let her do it. Let me go get her real quick. Let me go get her.
A few moments later.
You guys should obviously know that my favorite engine of all time is the JZ. It's like the obvious choice for reliability and power and fun, but not for this car. I wanted to do a Ford into a Ford, and I'm stoked to see what she thinks. This is gonna be pretty cool. I'm like genuinely excited, and I'm stoked to show you guys a little bit about the engine and why I chose to buy this one. Garen actually sent this one to me. It was irresistible because
you already bought one, so
No, it was irresistible because of one thing on this engine. I'll show you guys here in a little bit. Yeah, no JZs. That's also just too predictable. Barra it is. All right. You ready to unbox your engine or cut it up? What?
It's like, even if I see it, I'm gonna have no idea what it is.
Yeah, no, you will once you undo it. Gabby, do you wanna help mommy? Do you wanna help mommy undo a new engine?
You can say it loud.
What engine do you think it is?
Well, I know what we talked about.
Talked about what?
Like 2 years ago, or a year ago, we talked about like the Barra. Is that what it is?
Do you want me to do it? Yeah. I'll let you do the honors now.
Christmas.
Wow. I still have no idea what it is.
An engine.
I see Ford.
This is a Ford Barra.
Barra. The Australian motor.
The Aussie engine.
The Aussie engine.
Honestly, one of the best engines around, dude. These are so cool because these are 4-liter inline 6s.
Oh dang.
They're big mamma jammas. They're like JZ's but better, and they're very strong engines too. This one in particular, I'm pretty excited about because this is not an LPG engine. A lot of these engines, natural gas. A lot of the engines over there run on LPG. Oh. And so you bring them over here and you have to actually convert them, and this is not one of them. Even though I'm probably gonna have to, I'm gonna do a fuel system and stuff anyways. Yeah, LPG is a very common fuel over there, but this is a petroleum engine.
Petro.
The reason why I bought this one is because this isn't made anymore.
Why
this
not?
right here, no, this is a Chevy adapter, like on the flywheel and everything, so we can run a Chevrolet T56, which is like,
you need a, I have no idea what that all means.
This is gonna require a decent amount of fabrication. What'd you do? You freaking poking yourself over here?
No, I'm trying to figure out why this wiring harness is all messed
That's because they chopped it out of a car, dude. Australians love their chopping. They chop their springs and their harnesses.
Sugar babe,
What are we doing now?
So this has to go in that.
We're gonna put this engine in Mommy's Mustang. What do you think about that?
Like a mommy's car.
That's
That
Mommy's
is
car.
Mommy's car.
Good job. That is Mommy's car. Well, surprise.
Well, I honestly, like, it is a surprise because I honestly had zero clue. I was like, I know we talked about that. It was a year ago, though.
This is a long time coming, and I'm very excited about it. I don't know if I'm gonna end up doing a turbo on it or not. It could be like NA with nitrous or something, because these engines do make really good power, and I don't want this thing to be just an absolute useless pile of junk, because we're not gonna put, let me be realistic with you guys, we're not putting $400,000 worth of suspension on this thing. We're gonna do like flipped leaf springs and like make it a little more modernized with disc brakes. It's not gonna be a road racing car by any means. We have sort of a little bit of a challenge, not a challenge, but bittersweet thing. We probably just need to remove the hood entirely. Yeah. Because like, this thing is gonna be super annoying. The thing about this engine is so, like, I mean, look at how tiny the engine is from this. This thing is maybe a foot wide. This thing is probably 2, if not more. It's also a little bit deeper of an engine. So, and then you're gonna have just a bunch more hoses and stuff like that. This is just a very simple setup, obviously, but simple is bad and boring. So we're gonna have to put the engine in and figure out, before we send it off to paint, we need to figure out exactly what we need to cut, what we need to fabricate. I think that there's a piece of the firewall that we're gonna have to end up cutting out and refabricating and like welding up some spots. But I've got the engine mounts, but we probably can go ahead and lower it in and get sort of an idea. I mean, I gotta get it off of this crate anyways, because now this thing's gonna take up an entire car's space in my garage. So, congratulations, Victoria. You have probably one of the only, it's been done, but you have officially one of the only Barra Swap 65 Mustangs in the world.
He said, yay! Oh.
He said, yay!
Yay!
Okay.
Not feeling it. Strut braces we have to get rid of.
I was gonna say, let's clear out some space. For sure, these have to go 100%. But I think that from the research I was doing, from some of the stuff I was looking into, it shouldn't be too much of a hassle once you start removing a couple of the OEM things. And I'm really glad that people have started to use them a little bit more. They're sort of, in America, like, nobody uses them, nobody builds them, really. There's a few people in America that I know that have imported, and we talked to another guy a couple years ago, but this one was just such a good deal because of the $1,500 T56 adapter that you can't get anymore. But I know that there are some people here in America that have some knowledge about it, but, oh, dude, it's even got like a new starter, dude. New solenoid, new starter. That's sick, dude. That's a, because it's a Chevy. Yeah. It's a Chevy starter, that's why. This, if you want to turbocharge it or do a forward-facing manifold, so you can take this off, do the throttle body's right there, whatever, or you can do a forward-facing manifold. So the plenum, you can actually take off the top part, and people actually make a forward-facing deal right there. So that's kind of cool. Most of this is gonna have to be custom. Have to get a custom radiator set up. If we end up turbocharging it, which that might happen later down the line, I think I'd like to just get it set up and running in a first. For example, if we turbocharge it, we gotta put an intercooler in there somewhere. I would rather the car have a good cooling system and then figure out where an intercooler goes later. These things make tons of torque, by the way. NA with the tune can make really good power. I mean, my single overhead cam, there's not a Barra, I can't remember what the single overhead cam one's called, but it makes good power, and it's completely stock. I drifted it for 4 days straight, and it was insane.
Changes maybe water neck.
Yeah, so the water neck I'm sure has to change. I definitely want to get probably a different fuel rail, because, you know, E85 would be kind of cool to run on this car. I'll have to do a whole new fuel tank, which is fine, because I know like there's companies out there that make OE tanks with like ethanol approved lines and stuff in it. But I'm honestly, seriously, I'm super excited about this. So I think Fabit still makes stuff, but I don't think that this particular adapter right here, for my research, you can't find this one anymore unless it's like used. This is pretty cool too. I mean, you can literally pop a T56 clutch or flywheel, clutch, everything T56 goes right on that. So we can actually work with ACT on this. So we'll have a really good, like, just streetable clutch. Dude, I'm stoked.
ACT in the BMW feels pretty good, yeah.
Money, right?
Feels soft. It feels
ACT,
like
win. So we don't have to import a bunch of Australian things because, believe it or not, it's actually still pretty hard because we just didn't get these. We didn't get these engines, which make them particularly interesting, but also at the same time, A little harder to source things for. Probably still cheaper and easier than an SR20 to work on though. The inline sixes, one of my favorite things about them is boom, hook, hook.
Yeah, I saw that.
So good, bro. I'm hoping it's not too terribly complex. Anything's possible really, and I think we just need to get the engine in here and start cutting away things that won't work. Aside from the rest of the build, this car, with how old it is, obviously is going to need some supporting mods. Regardless of power, having a solid powertrain is important. The T56, I think, is gonna make the car, I mean, the old shift mechanism, not good. I mean, these old shifters are just so bunk and like, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I wanna make it a little bit more modern feeling. We might have to do some work in here in this area. Also, these mud daubers, bro, that is crazy, bro. Cheers. I would like to end up doing, we obviously need some suspension back here. It's pretty bad. I don't really know the terminology, and this is what's kind of exciting for me to go about this, and you know, even have Victoria help me with all this stuff, is I don't really know the terminology. My vocabulary is like 1980 and after. I speak OBD1 and OBD2, not carburetor. I don't know much about the old suspension and stuff like that, so like, well, I'm learning a bunch, and I'm learning that you can, like, you know, flip the leaf springs, lower it that way, just get some really good shocks, make that work instead of just doing a, you know, super expensive suspension. I think the other thing that I'm looking at is just getting a factory Ford 9-inch or a Ford 9-inch from like Summit or something like that. So I've got a lot of research to do, and I've got a lot of things to learn. And then, you know, between obviously the diff and the output of the transmission, custom drive shafts, they're easy if you get the right measurement and you find the right shop. So, too soon? Too soon, Garen? I made a drive shaft joke. Anyways, wheels, you know, we're gonna make wheels for this car. Victoria's already figured out which one she wants. Lower the car, just make it a really solid, cool vehicle. But I mean, ultimately, I wanted the heart of the car to be, I wanted the heart of the car to match the car. I want to emphasize that so much. I wanted a Ford inline six to go into a Ford that had an inline six from factory. Just like refreshing it, not necessarily making the chassis feel like brand new, but updating it and just making it a bit more fun to drive, you know, better power, better transmission, and then when it's done, maybe piss off some geezers at a car meet to be like, what the hell is this fuel injected mess? I'd be like, it's called, I was gonna say America, but it's Australia, baby. Cross your fingers, wish us luck. I'm really excited to get this going and figure out all the little bits and pieces that we need to make this work. I've got the engine mounts, so next video that you guys see this, we'll be sliding the engine in, figuring out what we need to do, cutting some stuff away before we need to send it off to paint, and then going from there. If there's any companies or people out there that are really well versed in this kind of stuff, I need all the help that I can get, because Garen's like 6 years old. He doesn't know anything about Mustangs, bro. And I just be doing new stuff. So it'll be really cool to dive into this and learn a little bit. My advice for you guys today is, and this might seem vague, but I want to tell you guys, and by the way, I give daily advice every day. I've done it for like 5 years. We'll always do it. You know, my advice for you guys today is, if you're stuck right now, and this again, it's going to seem vague, it's going to seem very non-specific, but you're stuck right now and you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, you have to start somewhere for everything. I want you to think about that and apply that to something. You know, if you're discouraged about anything in your life, about where you're at or where to go, you just got to know that at some point you just got to start, and the rest of the things can trickle into place. So no matter what it is you want to do in life, no matter what it is you strive to be, you have to start somewhere. So just begin. That's my advice for you guys. I'll see you guys next video. Have an amazing day. Peace.